Have you ever stopped to think about it? I mean, really think about what happens to all your stuff online after you're gone? All your photos, your emails, your social media, your entire life, really. So much of who we are, our memories, and yeah, even our money, it all exists now as just bits and bytes. Today, we're going to dig in and decode exactly what that means for your legacy.
So, let's just get right to the big question, the one that's at the heart of all this. What actually happens to your digital life when you're no longer around? Now, it sounds like a simple question, right? But believe me, the answer is incredibly complicated. And if we don't think about it, it can create a huge mess and a lot of heartbreak for the people we care about most.
You see, whether we plan for it or not, we all leave something behind. It's kind of like a digital ghost. It's an echo of our lives, and it's stored everywhere, in the cloud, on servers, across dozens of platforms. So let's take a closer look at what this digital ghost is really made of.
Think about it. Our money, our memories, all are important records. They're not just in filing cabinets or old photo albums anymore. One expert put it perfectly, saying they've become the digital gateways to our lives, estates, and legacies. It's all connected, and almost all of it lives online.
Okay, so there's a really important term we need to get our heads around here, and that's digital asset. And it's a super broad concept. We're talking about pretty much anything that's stored digitally and has some kind of value. And that value could be financial, sure, but it could also be purely sentimental or something else entirely.
And this slide breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you have your sentimental assets. This is the stuff that tells the story of your life, right? Your photos, your videos, old emails, your social media accounts. Then on the other side, you've got the financial assets, things like cryptocurrency, maybe some NFTs, or even an online business you run. Both of these are absolutely critical parts of a modern estate.
But here's what's really interesting. When people are asked what they actually care about the most, well, the numbers speak for themselves. According to a YouGov survey, a staggering 64%, that's almost 2/3 of us, said their sentimental digital assets are way more important to them than the financial ones. In the end, it really is the memories that matter most to people.
But here's the catch. Without a real plan, all of this value, both the emotional stuff and the financial stuff, is seriously at risk. The source material for this explainer has this amazing, kind of chilling title for it, Turning Digital Gold into Digital Ash.
And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the problem. The challenge isn't proving that these assets have value. We all know they do. The single biggest challenge is access. And look, this isn't just some tech problem. It's an emotional one, too. It means families can get locked out of precious memories or critical funds at the absolute worst possible time.
You know, the world of cryptocurrency actually gave us a phrase that nails this danger perfectly. Not your keys, not your crypto. In that world, there's no bank you can call, there's no forgot my password button that's going to save you. If you lose that unique private key, the asset is just gone, forever. And that same logic now applies to almost every part of our digital lives, because our online accounts are all protected by their own unique keys, our passwords.
And this isn't just a hypothetical problem. The source material brings up the tragic, real-world story of Gerald Cotton. He was the CEO of a crypto exchange called Quadriga CX. When he died unexpectedly, it turned out he was the only person on Earth who had the keys to the company's offline wallets. The result? Hundreds of millions of dollars in customer money just vanished. It became totally inaccessible, a complete and utter catastrophe, all because of a lack of planning. So yeah, losing the keys is one massive problem. But even if your family knows about an account, they're going to run headfirst into a second, just as frustrating hurdle, a tangled, confusing maze of fine print. The hard truth is, there is no standard procedure here. None. Our source material looked at a ton of platforms, and what they found was that every single one has different rules. It's this patchwork of policies that creates huge legal problems, forcing grieving families into these long, drawn-out battles with tech giants, each one hiding behind its own impossible-to-read terms of service. And this table here is a perfect illustration of that patchwork. One of our sources created a scorecard that actually rates these platforms. So you can see Apple gets a silver rating for its legacy contact feature, which is pretty good. It lets a chosen contact access your data, but even that has some big gaps. And then you look at other platforms like Google and Facebook, they have tools, but with even bigger limitations. Google's inactive account manager, for example, it gets triggered by you not logging in for a while, not by death. And it might just delete all your data instead of passing it on. The whole landscape is just inconsistent and incomplete. Okay, so that's a lot about the problems. It sounds kind of bleak, I know. But here's the good news. This is an entirely solvable problem. It just takes a little bit of forethought, a little bit of planning, so let's talk about how to start taking back control.
The experts behind our source material lay out 3 really simple, really actionable steps. First, you've got to create a digital inventory. Think of it like a map of your online world. Second, you should actually use the legacy tools that platforms like Apple and Google already offer. And third, and this one is so important, you have to talk to your family and any advisors you might work with. It's a pretty straightforward plan, but it can make all the difference in the world.
So let's just break that down a little bit. Your inventory. This doesn't need to have your actual passwords in it. That can be pretty risky. Instead, it should just be a list of your important accounts so your executor knows what's out there and where they need to look. Next, and you can do this today, take 10 minutes. Just go into your Apple or Google settings and set up your legacy contact or your inactive account manager. It is such a simple step, but it's like giving someone you trust a key. And finally, the most important part, have the conversation. I know it's not always easy, but making sure your loved ones know what you want and where to find that inventory, that is probably the greatest gift you can give them during an incredibly difficult time.
So here's the big takeaway from all of this. Managing your digital legacy, it's not some optional tech-savvy task anymore. It is a core part of being a responsible adult in the 21st century. It's about making sure your story, your memories, and the value you've built are passed on. It's about protecting what we could call your undiscovered legacy.
We spend our entire lives building these incredible, intricate digital kingdoms, and they're full of our most precious memories and our hard-earned assets. So I'm just going to leave you with one final question to think about. Who is going to hold the keys to your digital kingdom?